Hi, Chanel. So,
Hello.
introductions. I'm Jen with the Phoenix Theatre marketing team, and I'm with Chanel. Chanel, can you introduce yourself and what
Yes,
you're doing
hello
here and why we're talking?
everyone. I am Chanel Bragg. I have been very blessed to work with the esteemed Phoenix Theatre Company in many capacities. Most recently, as a director for the Lady Day at Emerson's bar project, bar and grill project, and now for Waitress. And I also act here, so I've had a long history and loving relationship with Phoenix Theatre for quite some time.
Thank you. So, how about we just start with tell us about Waitress, the storyline, the things that
Yes.
you're going to do, the fun stuff.
Oh my gosh. So I'm really excited about Waitress for a myriad of different reasons. So for any of our 80s babies in the house, I'm definitely one of them that saw the original movie in 2007, I believe, that starred Kerry Russell. It is a cult classic about this lovely young woman working in a diner and kind of what she's kind of going through with life at that time. And so what I thought was very impressive of Sara Bareilles, who composed all the music for the musical adaptation of the movie, was that she literally took like inspiration from the movie to formulate these songs. And to me, it could not be a better parallel of one another. They echo each other so greatly, even on top of Ogie's poem and the dot 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 dot, like that's also in the movie. And so I just thought it was really brilliant. But the overall story is about love. Like that is which is funny because I feel like that is a common theme of a lot of things I direct. But it ultimately is a story about love and the different types of love that exist. Love Actually is one of my favorite movies in the world because it literally deals with lots of different versions of love, unrequited love, that first love, or that crush at work that you always wish that you could date. Like there's all these different versions of pining for someone, and I feel like Waitress beautifully encapsulates what that looks like. But it's not also just love romantically, it's also love for your art, love for what you do. Jenna, the main character, is an artisan in the kitchen, and she bakes these gorgeous, beautiful pies that are inspired by her life situations. And so, one of the really cool conceits in the play is that they have like a board, and whatever she's going through, that's a type of pie that's being featured for the day. Not to be giving away any spoilers or anything, but it's like portrayed by my eggs pie when she finds out she's pregnant. And those ingredients are, all based off of those things. And I also love the conceit of the show that when she starts to create new pie recipes in her head, she almost goes into like a dreamlike sequence, which is suspends for reality just a little bit, and which is really interesting too. I think I have daydreamed. We all have daydreamed. We've all had moments where we have pretend conversations in mirrors, or just me because I'm crazy. I don't know. But to have her be so lost in thought that she has to be snapped back to reality. But then the result of those beautiful moments are these gorgeous, incredible pies. It's just really cool. So her love for what she does, her love for creation, her love for her mother, which is echoed throughout the show, where they talk about how she really taught her how to do these things. Um, Finding love for yourself, which is also a really great um, true echoing through line throughout the story. Finding love for yourself and what that looks like, or finding love through what you need as well. Like some of the other characters are also going through some things. So I'll continue with Jenna and then I'll move on. So with Jenna's character, she's been with her husband for probably 15 years post high school, never really experienced much outside of that. I mean, even down to the design of their house is just to really insinuate that they're stuck and they're not happy. Also, the show does also lend to connecting on topics about domestic abuse and very important topics, where we're highlighting that there are women that are plagued by that, that it's a very real issue and a very real problem. And although I will say the musical stays, it doesn't go too far in the direction of the physical violence, but it's very clear what the situation is, and how she longs to escape that situation. So I feel like her love story with Earl as her husband character is one of those. It's like when you love someone so much that even though you know you need to leave for yourself, you don't leave because you're worried they'll hurt themselves or you're worried about how they'll be affected. It's that almost like I'll sacrifice myself in this situation to make sure that I can take care of this person, even though I'm completely unhappy. And so Jenna's stuck. And Jenna is clearly stuck even in the first scene of the show, where the girls are like, she's like, oh my gosh, I got tricked into having sex with my husband. Like, because she clearly is just not wanting to be in that situation anymore. And nor should she, because it's not healthy. And then you have her compadres, which I love this too. I felt like it was so brilliant that the casting of this for the Broadway show was that they had women of different walks in life that all kind of just are made a family, like working in this diner. And so the other two characters are Dawn and Becky. And I'll talk about Dawn first. Dawn is not so much the younger woman of the group. She's just more naive. Like she hasn't been able to really live and explore life that much. And so on her quest for love, it's more that she hasn't had it. So she's yearning for it. She's excited for these experiences that have been bereft of her. She just hasn't gotten a chance to have a first boyfriend or anything like that. And so she finally decides to put herself out there, and then enter Ogie at the a little bit later into the show, where she finally puts herself out there. And also that's the strength, right? People don't realize how much it takes someone to finally decide, I think I want companionship, and now let me put myself out there to be completely open to rejection, completely open to being disappointed, because let's face it, dating online is not as great as people said the girl who met her partner on Match.com. You have to kiss a lot of frogs. And so watching Dawn's journey, it's just a very real, and I love that it is online dating to update it to kind of this time period of such, because it is a very real, only way people feel like they can meet people these days. And I love that she's unapologetically herself in that profile with all of her quirks. And then, of course, she finds someone that is her equal. And then we have Becky. Becky is Mama Bear, and she is loving, and she is also very caretaking. So the text also shares that her husband is having some sort of thing. I'll make sure my phone is on. Her husband is having some sort of issue with incontinence of some sort. And she talks about my husband wears diapers and things like that. And so the second she leaves the diner, it's immediately going to be a caretaker for her partner. And it's also like that romantic love for them has waned, of course, for many years. And so the actress that I've hired to play Becky, I'm really excited, because I also feel like we need, and I'm glad for work that represents women of all ages. That's really important to me, especially mature actresses. And this actress, I think, will really embody what we need from Becky in terms of really telling that story truthfully about what it's like to still be young. With this kind of situation, and still wanting to live life and explore all the beautiful things that are available to you, but then your partner can't because of a health issue. Then how do you maneuver through that? And so, not to give it completely away, but she does find a way to find that companionship that she needs. And I don't necessarily say this is love. I think the love that she has for her husband is the example of how she loves. But she does find herself in need and in search of companionship, and finds it from the unlikeliest source. So I won't say who, because that is a reveal in the show. But it's just a journey of these three women. And I think Sara did such a beautiful job at creating these gorgeous, lush harmonies for the three women to sing together as a unit. And that was my favorite part of the casting process, for sure. It was finding women that really not only had a synergy between them, but also were incredible singers that could
Mhm.
blend and all the good stuff. So going a little bit into casting for a bit, but I just think the story overall is about love. And of course, at the end of the show, she has her child, she has Lulu. And for her, it shows her that love exists in like human form. And she could pour all of that now into a person to where it gives her strength to no longer like say, I can't stay stuck in this place anymore because I don't only live for myself anymore. I also live for her. And so, yeah, I don't know. I love it. I think it's beautiful. It's not my typical fare. A lot of people are like, you direct a lot of social justice pieces and or things that are pretty heavier in nature or sad, like Lady Day.
Mhm.
But I love telling a story about joy and telling a story about love and telling a story about how we're just humans and our dynamics. And the only storyline I didn't talk about yet, and I will, but I want to save it for last, was the
Okay.
Dr. Cometer Jenna storyline. And that's because also in our different types of love relationships, we can also have love relationships that edge on the taboo just a little bit. But what I love about the way this is written is you do not walk away feeling like Dr. Palmer has done this egregious thing or Jenna has done this egregious thing. They fell in love in like a liminal space, a space that only they could occupy because they were in need for something. And they found it in each other in the most also unlikeliest of places. And it is pure, it is innocent, it is not derived from malice or trying to hurt other people or anything like that. They just find a connection with each other and then don't know what to do with that connection.
Mhm.
And I think that that is a very real subject that people either can, you can be swayed one way or the other, the morality of how you feel about him being married, her being married. He's her gynecologist. You know what I mean? And they are
Mhm.
found each other. But what I love about it is that it's also, again, a very innocent kind of happened. And then it's really about how they navigate that too. It's like, okay, so there's something here, and there probably shouldn't be something here, but there is something here. And so how do we navigate this? And
Mhm.
so the song Bad Idea is a great song too, because again, it's just about a real conversation that you have with yourself. And I think if everyone's being honest about different choices they've ever made in their life, maybe there's a crossroads that you came to. There was a like, okay, if I make this decision, that might be a bad idea. And it doesn't have to be in love, it can be about anything else. And how do you then walk through that?
Mhm.
Or how do you, after walking through it, go, oh, how do I walk out of that? Or
Mhm.
how has this changed me? Or what have I learned? So, yeah, I feel like Dr. Palmer and Jen's relationship is a beautiful learning moment for the both of them when they were both in need for something that they found in one another. But then ultimately, they recognize again, love being the overreaching theme, that they have different priorities. And so, yes, not to give again the whole storyline away, but that's obviously the biggest love story that's in Waitress, which is between Dr. Palmer and Jenna.
Very cool. Thank you. Describe the set and the time frame because you
So
touched a bit about online dating. So it's modern times.
it's modern, like so. When I was doing our costuming or whatnot, and I was working with Adriana Diaz, who's incredible. She's our costume designer, and she was like, "So, what time period is this?" And I was like, "Well, I kind of feel it's like anything to Chanel, which is probably totally incorrect. Post 2008 feels the same to me between 2008 and 2024. I feel like it's the same time frame. It's not. We've had lots of advancements since then. But even with our style, like our clothing style is returning, like, Dawn wears scrunchies in her hair and things like that. It's like, it just feels, and also when you're in, not to make an assumption, because I know in Arizona, we're in the fifth largest city in the nation. But I feel like when you're in more the Midwest, it's like slower town setting. We are trying to emulate those really cool diners that you see on the side of the road when you're driving through like different truck stops, and they have that best pie like you've ever had ever. Or for me, whenever I travel, it's like always looking for the best barbecue place or the best place that sells jerky or whatnot. And I feel like this diner, Joe's Diner is what it's called. It's kind of that. So it's set in Middle America, really wherever that could be for anyone. I didn't want to give it a specific place because I feel like, again, I want it to be more universal, that it's this area of the United States. So it's set Middle America, 2008-ish, post 2008 to current day. But again, with online dating, I personally feel that it would be even closer within the last like 10 to 15 years, just because of the advancement in online dating.
Mm-hmm. Can you describe, you touched a little bit about the costumes. Can you talk more about the costumes and the props?
Yes, I could talk about the costumes props, but I just realized it might be a fun fact for me to also finish scenically for just a second.
Oh, yes.
So our scenic designer, his name is Josephat Reynoso. For anyone that has seen my work before, I directed the Glass Menagerie at Arizona Theatre Company a couple of years back, and that was the same scenic designer. So, when you work with someone, you have a great working relationship, you hire them again. And so Josephat has come to also design Waitress. And so I love his work. I'm a big fan of his work. And Michael Barnard, the producing artistic director, was sitting at McAlpine's Pie Shop, and we had a conversation after that. And he was like, wow, McAlpine's still around. They're just still doing great. And with Waitress coming around, and so it was like, okay, well, what if we can do partnerships? Those are some of the conversations we were having. And then he was like, well, what about doing a nod to McAlpine's? And I was like, well, what a really amazing idea. And I hope that's not giving away the farm, because if you walk in, I think you'd notice immediately that this place feels like familiar to Arizona. And it's a beautiful place. I'm a retro aficionado. I have shopped at McAlpine's and the thrift store there for many, many, many years, and I've loved their food. And I feel like, especially in this time, with paying homage to the different communities, different shops and businesses that make up our community. And it's right around the corner from Phoenix Theater. It's like so perfect. And it is this really cool diner stuck in time. And you walk in and you feel instantly transported. And so you will see that. You will see echoes of McAlpine's throughout the entire scenic design. And so when you come in, kind of like a Where's Waldo, like just go to McAlpine's and look like, oh my gosh, that's the clock, and that's this, and that's that. And you'll notice a true love letter to a beautiful establishment here in Arizona that we love and respect and go support. Because post 2020, we know all of our small businesses are still hurting. So go buy some pie.
Love that. Okay, props, costumes.
So of course, Waitress costumes. So there are going to be a lot of great Waitress costumes that are in it. But also each woman is individual. So talking about the three women, that's your Jenna, Becky, and Dawn. Jenna, again, is kind of stuck. So even though she's wearing the standard Waitress costume, I want her to look a little disheveled. I want her to look a little bit unkempt. I want her not to be as made up. I want her to feel so stuck in a place that she doesn't even bother to try to pretty herself up or whatever that means from day to day. Whereas Dawn is very much like, she's kitschy. So I love Adriana's vision on this, because we're both lockstep, that she wants Dawn to be like crafty, like to make little barrettes and bracelets and hair scrunchies. And so you're always going to see something kind of wild on Dawn that looks like it was a handmade craft jewelry option or something like that, which is super cute. And so we'll play with Is it all friendship bracelets? Is it, the Taylor Swift bracelets? I don't know. Well, we'll figure out what it is, but we're excited to see what Dawn creates and wears each day to accessorize herself. And then you have Becky. I wanted Becky to, again, even though they're all in the standard waitress uniform, how does she make it differently? That's unique to her personality, unique to sexuality. Like, she's not afraid to be sexy. She's not afraid to be dolled up. There's this beautiful scene where she prepares Dawn for her date. And she's like literally whipping out her own lipstick to put on Dawn. It's like a really beautiful moment. And I wanted to celebrate her bodiness and her sexuality. And so it's like, is it that she has a few less buttons buttoned? Things like that. And of course, like her jewelry, ethnically, I wanted to make sure, like, I love characters that look like who you are. And so it's like, I would love for her to have big hoops or bamboo earrings or anything that's more synonymous to like what we tend to wear as Black women when we accessorize and things like that. So that's the three women. And then when they're not in their costumes, and again, all those things I brought on, like, I'm not necessarily sure Dawn's in a crochet sweater, but that's the vibe, right? Or Becky's in like a cute jean jacket with some like cool Ankara earrings or something like that. So I'm excited to see what Adriana Finish is coming up with. I've seen a lot of the sketches and I love the direction, and we'll wait to see how it all pans out. Let me see some of the other characters. The ensemble will be dressed in kind of neutral, where again, to communicate that we're in this middle America and we're all a part of the community. So you'll see different people that represent that, whether or not if it's in jeans or t-shirts. We're still investigating that at the moment. Joe, the sweet old man who owns the pie shop and has these beautiful moments of dialogue and introspection with Jenna. He is going to be like your old Southern gentleman, and he will be in these lovely suits, basically. And I kept just saying, I want a bolero on him. So yeah, there's some really sweet, but again, just we're all everyday people type costuming that would be done for this. There is a wedding in the show. And so that was fun too, to choose what Dawn's wedding dress will look like. I decided to steer away from a lot of the colonial era that has been shown in a lot of the movie, in the musical version. But because I wanted her to have just a beautiful wedding dress, like throw away the kitsch, like for one moment, just be absolutely beautiful and just naturally beautiful without anything extra. However, though, the pie cart, that's like the cake cart, will be bedazzled in Americana. I can't wait to show that.
That is so fun. So let's talk about the pies. The pies you mentioned, they're kind of like characters themselves. So how do you approach incorporating them into the production, and how do you hope, or what do you hope that they convey to the audience?
So I did a show recently in Idaho where it was about sandwiches. And after really trying to figure out the analogy, like, why did Lynn Nottage decide on sandwiches? And I realized because when you layer things, then, and if many people are contributing to those layers, then it makes like a perfect little package of community. And so I'm going to use that similar analogy here. I feel like a pie is as wholesome as it gets, number one. I think pies immediately transport us to a happier time, transports us to time of celebration, time with your mother, time with your grandmother, at least in my life. Pie is echoed in that way for me. So not only is it like a pie to me also symbolizes like promise. I don't know, like for me it does, of something good to come, even if it's just your dessert at the end of a meal. Like it's something that is warm, well, depending on the type of pie that you have. And so that's another bigger conversation. Pie can mean a lot of things to a lot of different people. But like the analogy with the sandwich, I love that pies are a myriad of different ingredients that make up the whole. And I feel like if we use it as an analogy for Joe's Diner, all these different characters from Cal, which I didn't talk about much yet, but Cal the cook, right? what ingredients does he give to this pie that Jenna, Becky, and Dawn don't? Because they are literally the shop, and what they present to the community, the synergy between them, and then the food that they serve and the love with the food that they serve. How are they building community also with those pies? So talking about the actual physical pies and what we'll be creating, there's so many. There's so many.
Will there be a tasting, and can I go?
Oh my gosh, let me tell you something, which by the way, thank you for the pie you brought to the photo shoot, because that was my lunch, I believe, that day. Going back to theater camp. Yeah, I really hope that there will be tastings. I can't wait to work with Sam Monson, my incredible stage manager. I'm so excited. I've always worked with her on the other end as an actor, so I'm excited to work with her as a counterpart. And she was like, "Hey, let's get to planning." And I was like, "Oh my gosh, we got to start with our baking lessons," because I do think it's important that our actors feel very nimble around the kitchen, ingredients. If you're a professional pie baker, then you need to come off like a professional pie baker. But just a little fun tidbit that people should know: Arizona has the most beautifully dedicated artisans that people don't realize. And I hope she's not. I hope she doesn't get embarrassed by me sharing this. Actually, I won't say who. I won't say who. But one of my actresses that are in this show sends me a new pie that she's baked ever since she heard that she got the roles.
Wow.
And no joke, every day it's like, hey, this week it's this and this week it's that. It's just beautiful to me, the amount of preparation and the amount of love that's going into a process that we haven't even started rehearsal for. Like rehearsal starts in September. So it's really, really beautiful that they care so much. And it's more than one. Like I've been getting lots of pie pictures and I'm waiting for those tastings.
I love
But
that. I
yeah,
think I know who it is. And I know that one of your swings is a pastry chef. So
uh,
I think
listen, they are ready. They are doing such good work. And I'm so proud. I'm so proud. It makes me feel like the team made a good decision with our casting. But overall, the different pies that will be available. So hopefully, again, if we have our partnership that we're looking to have, you can have some pie at intermission. You will leave hungry. That's for sure. I've not left a single production meeting without immediately driving to Village Inn. Buying pie. I wish I was joking, but I'm not. In fact, after this, I'm probably gonna go buy a piece of pie. Um, and my favorite pie is lemon meringue. However, there is a lemon cream pie, Village Inn, that's been giving the lemon meringue a run for its money lately. So
nice.
I'll
And that
have to
is
be.
also around the corner from the theater. So that's very dangerous.
It really is dangerous. It really is dangerous. And I have one around the corner from my house. I live up north, and I'm just like,
Mm.
oh my God, pie. But there will be plenty. There will be plenty of pies. With the set design, they have these beautiful pie displays that will be a part of the design, which is really, really incredible. Um, and oh,
Fun fact from Luis, who's on the call, but you can't see him. Buck and Ryder
yeah,
has the best lemon meringue pie. So Buck and Ryder, for watching, collaboration.
collaborate. Well, let me tell you, thank you, Louise, because I will probably go there. I can give some variety because Village Inn is getting all my money right now. But there will be a lot of different places. There'll be pie displays that you'll see. The fun thing with working with Sarah Harris, who's our beautiful props artisan, we have been counting pies, like going through the script and saying, okay, so although I need this amount of pies for all the dream sequences, and she's like, but how many pies do you think you need on this rack for this one scene? And then the business in that scene of delivering it, putting them in to-go boxes and all that. I was like, oh, then I guess I need like 15. Then it's like, well, then what do you want on those pies? And so it has been, yeah, it is. God bless our props team. Please give them a round of applause because any shows with consumables in them, which is what we call anything you eat on stage, anything that's a combination of prop and consumable is so much work for your props team. Not to mention then of course also the standard props that are used by everyone, and then business props, especially in a restaurant, because then it's like mop, broom, sprays, rags, like all that has to be choreographed. And I'm just so grateful for our team because again, we've been working on it now for the last 3 or 4 months. And I think the team is like, okay, September 3rd, get here so we can get to rehearsal.
What excites you about the show?
Pie. And actually, what excites me about this show is the community. So many people are so excited about this show. I didn't get a chance to go to New York and see the show. And so my only experience with the musical was when it was on on Vudu. I have it on Paramount Plus, or it's like one of those things. And after watching it, and I'm sobbing in my living room as I'm watching it, I was like, this is so beautiful. And then instantly I regretted, gosh, I wish I saw that when I was in New York. Because I could have. I was in New York quite a few times on my post when I was working for ATC for different workshops and things. And I didn't go because I chose other shows to go to. And I really wish I would have seen this live, and especially with Sara, because she's incredible. However, though, as incredible as Sara Bareilles is, the actresses that we have cast, both to play Jenna and her understudy, are incredible vocalists. So, yeah, I don't feel like anybody be like, oh, we missed Sara. No, you got. Can we say who's cast yet?
Yeah, it's been announced. You are fine. You're not spoiling anything.
I'm trying to make sure I'm not spilling secrets, y'all. Cassie Chilton, who is a big time favorite at Phoenix Theater. The last, I say lead role she played was Patsy Cline, correct? Who blew me away. And her range is crazy. And I have to say this because, and it's not that I'm just puffing her up. You need to understand something about Chanel Bragg. I'm hard about doling out standing ovations. And I'm harder about doling out standing ovations in the middle of a show. I've done it 3 times. Cassie holds 2. 2 of those times I could not help myself but stand up and clap for her in the middle of a show. Cassie holds 2 of those. I'm a big fan of hers, and she's a brilliant vocalist, and you won't be disappointed. And she's a musician. That was really important to me. I wanted someone that had the same type of musicianship that Sara has. We have lots of beautiful singers. Oh my gosh, we are. Let me tell you, Arizona is such a beautifully lush environment for good, strong artists, and which is why we're dominating Broadway and dominating tours right now because there's so much talent here. But I also wanted someone not just with musical theater sensibilities. I wanted someone who was an instrumentalist, someone who understands the cadence like Sara Bareilles of that folky kind of pop sound. And Cassie does that in spades. And then her understudy, Melissa Modifer, who also is from Arizona, ASU alum, is coming back to Arizona for this project, and her voice is incredible. Again, another pianist, another musician. So the singing, let me tell you, they were singing with an A-N-G, and I'm so excited, and I can't wait for you to hear these beautiful, dynamic women. And that's just your Jennas. We haven't even gotten to how fierce our Beckys are, and our Dons. In fact, our Dawn is another really beautiful local favorite that everyone loves, is Bonnie Ruth Romney. And she's just so great. And I can't wait for people to see this part of her skill set because she does a lot of plays. She does musical direction, lots of different things. But I can't wait for people to see her be quirky because she also has that in the bag too. And so, yeah, it's a lot of really great. And of course, Becky's from out of town, but she blew me away with her video and our in-person. And I was like, okay, all right.
It'll be interesting to see Bonnie, especially because I think last major role with us, she was in Book of Will and then understudy for Constellations. So I've only seen her in like plays. So it'll be really fun to see her get her groove on.
Well, she did do, and I didn't get to see it. And I couldn't because I was not available. It was the ladies that were telephone operators.
Oh yeah, she did. No, I did see her then.
And I believe she played an instrument in that too.
Hello Girls.
Hello Girls. I think all the musicians, the actor musicians were in that one. Michelle was in that. Another fun fact: Michelle Chen who is our wonderful, esteemed choreographer. You'll get to see another skill set of hers too. A lot of people have seen her as a drummer, as a percussionist. A lot of people have seen her as a director, and an actor, of course. And so it'll be exciting for people to experience her as well as a choreographer.
Hmm.
Yes.
What are some strong emotions throughout the show?
Ooh, strong emotions. Fear. Fear is a big one. Um, I'm really drawn to, again, humans just being human. And when I pulled the sides for casting to send out to our, potential auditioners, I wanted to do the dear baby scenes for anyone that's familiar with the text. And if you're not, Jenna, upon finding out that she's pregnant, has these moments where she talks to the baby and she's just like, dear baby. And what I love about them is they're just so raw and they're just so real. And it's to me, although I do not have children and that is a desire I have, I do have people that I love very deeply that I'm godmothers to their children that I've had these conversations with. What do I do with a baby? I don't know if I'd be a good mother. Why am I in this situation? Oh my God, am I gonna fail? Like, that's real. And so Jenna struggles with that when she finds out she's having a baby. So it's fear of, am I making the right decision? I'm gonna have this baby, then am I gonna be a good parent? Not to mention also the fear of her situation, being in a domestic abuse situation. Fear. Do I leave him? What happens to him if I leave him? What happens to me if I try to leave him? Would I be strong enough to leave him? It's just like my life, and am I stuck here? So fear is one of them, not all of them, but fear is a big one. I think surrounding Jenna's character. I feel like the need to belong, like belonging, desire, belonging, um, and just feeling like you are, I guess, desired. That's really the best word for me to say. That is also something that's through a line for everybody. Like Jenna wants to be desired. Becky wants to be desired, which is why she ends up in that specialty that I'm not going to say, a situation with another cast member. That's an unlikely, unrequited, unlikely situation. Like, how did this happen? Dawn also desires, um, is looking to be desired and struggles with not. And so, yeah, I think that's really important. It is just, and how palpable that is too, because I don't think a lot of people realize that needing to be desired can lead you on a lot of different paths and not necessarily good paths, sometimes destructive paths. But needing to be desired is a very human thing, and it's okay. And it's okay to embrace that too and to acknowledge that. So desire would be another one. So fear, desire, um, love, obviously, but I've already expressed that one. Respect. And what I mean by respect is there's some really great moments in the show where friends are having hard conversations with another and how they respect each other and give each other hard truths, or isn't just kind of real with each other, but still doing it under the line of just truly respecting one another. Joe, the shop owner, he's this curmudgeon of a guy. Um, but his respect for Jenna shows her that she has purpose. And he tries to, even in his curmudgeony kind of rude way, like he still tries to impress on her that no, you are valued. Like, yeah, being valued also, it's like another word that would stick out to me. He shows her value, he shows her worth, and then pushes her to go pursue that. And so, yeah, I don't know. I think I could just keep coming up with lots of different words, but
Lots of different ones.
those are
Yeah.
the big ones, though. Your desire, same with Dr. Palmer. And it's not even so much a sexual or physical desire. It's like the desire for his life to be more than it is, for it to blossom or bloom in some sort of way, for him to discovery is another word. I mean, I could do
Mhm.
this all day. I can find a lot, a lot of words
A lot of adjectives.
that
Um,
exist.
what unique perspective do you bring to this production, and how does it influence your direction?
Okay.
Deep
This is
one.
what I will say. And yes, I think definitely a man could, of course, direct this play, as men have directed lots of different plays. But I love it being a woman. I love being a woman directing this particular story. Number one, because it's female centric. The main character is a woman, and I feel like sometimes, although yes, we can all direct um, lots of different stories from lots of different perspectives. Sometimes it hits different when the person directing also truly understands where that person is at and the plight of those decisions. For example, when I directed Lady Day, the actress said this was the first time she's directed by a Black woman. So for Lady Day, that was specific to needing to push that a little bit further in the understanding of the text, just not only as a woman, but also as a woman of color who understood what that character was going through. In this particular show, just as a woman in general, and then also as a woman that deeply loves, and I mean, not to put all my personal business out there, but like I was married at one time in a situation that was less than ideal. And although he was a kind gentleman, we just were not the best fit. And that feeling of stuck, like I understand that being with someone in your early 20s for 10 years as you're growing up and still becoming an adult and trying to figure out who you are. And then realizing once you're starting to really get a grasp of who you are, I don't think I'm the same person. Well, I'm definitely not the same person that I was 10 years ago. And I'm now this person that I am, I don't think is meant to be with this person anymore. And that's not a bad thing. I wish him luck and well. And he did go on to have another wife and a beautiful child. And so, like, that was what was right for them. And my career and being able to focus on my passions and my love, which is for sure for the arts that have been the biggest, the biggest love of my life is theater. And so being able to focus on that was definitely the right path for me. So understanding that being stuck, understanding also the other side of being in the less ideal situation in relationships that can become harmful. Unfortunately, I do have experience in that area too. Not with my ex-husband, but I do have experience in that area. And how you find yourself and find your worth in that moment, to know that you are worth more, and that you need, not worth more, excuse me, that you should care about yourself and love yourself enough more to get out of a potentially harmful situation. And that is something that I do identify with very strongly. And just to be, I mean, I can only be myself, y'all, and y'all know me by now. um I feel like that was something that hit me harder in the casting process than I initially realized. I pulled aside, which is an altercation between Jenna and Dr. Pomander. And once the actors were getting into it, it hit me harder than I realized. And I had to take a moment. I had to take a moment, and I was like, I'm so sorry. I am slightly triggered. And so let me go recalibrate so I can come back in the room. And of course you have like an even kill audition without but just proof that we're human, and
Mhm.
stimuli happens, and we sometimes don't realize where a trigger can come from. And I do understand that. So I understand Jenna actually pretty well. And I probably explained more about that than I thought I would in front of other people. But I'm real, and that's just what it is. And that wasn't part of the criteria of why I got hired. I actually don't think Michael knows that story. But I'm grateful that I am able, in my strength, to carry with me experiences that I have to enhance the storytelling from a very truthful place. but also from a triumphant place and a victorious place, because I've been able to also experience the other side of that. So yeah, I guess that's what would be uniquely different about me directing this particular piece.
Thank you for sharing. Really appreciate that.
Yeah.
I love you.
Love you.
What do you hope the audience takes away from the show?
Oh, I hope you want to squeeze somebody and eat some pie. What I mean by that is, like, if you have a crush and you have been beating around the bush, just make that call, girl or guy or anyone. Go out there and put yourself out there, and don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to put yourself out there. Don't be afraid to change the direction of your life. Like, that's another part. That's another big theme. You're not stuck. You really are not. Every day is a new opportunity. And so I think if people leave feeling like, I can conquer the world, or I can go make that date choice, or I could start a new hobby, or I could quit this job I hate and go along the path of something that I want to do. That's what I want people to leave feeling inspired. And also, yes, sure, the storyline is about Dr. Pomander and Jenna and trying to figure out, where they are, but it's so much more than that. It really is. And so eat some pie and then change your life. Make one decision, make one choice that you've been fighting with yourself to make, and do it. And then tell us about it, because I want to know what that shift was for you. Like, I'm genuinely curious about that.
Love that. We're going to do some fun flash questions. So they're going to be fun, short answering ones. You're just going to think, like, not even think about it, just react. Cool?
Okay, just react.
All right. Choose a carnival game you'd play forever.
Oh, basketball. Every day. Dave and Buster's, those like 3-point shoots where the net moves back and forth. I'm amazing at
Nice.
that. I'm not going to lie. I get very competitive.
Fun. Directing or performing, which excites you more?
Oh, that's not fair. That's not fair. I can't answer that question. Can I answer? Can I give an answer?
Mhm.
Performing is who I am. Directing was a discovery that started off as a necessity. So people that look like me also saw the people on the other side of the table. But then it developed into a desire and a need. I need to tell these stories. And before, I thought that only was performing them. And now I've learned it's also literally getting a chance to orchestrate who tells the story. And so now they're even. Yeah, they're pretty even.
Okay.
And,
I'll
and
figure
I'm
that.
directing more than performing. So right now it may seem like I'm leaning more directing.
I
But
did see a cast list, though, so I know that it's coming.
I might
It's
be
coming.
performing soon
Coming.
somewhere.
If you could have dinner with one character from your show, who would it be?
Oh, okay. I would want it to be Ogie, because I think it's a good time. Because Ogie is wild. But it'll probably be Joe.
Mm.
I would want him to, in all his curmudgeon-y wisdom, I would want to find out about all the life stories that he's lived and how he's gotten to this place. You get snippets of that with the show, but I feel like he's lived a lot of life. And I think he's hard because he has to be. And I want to find out where on the journey that happened.
If you could transport any person to see your show, who would it be?
Sara Bareilles. Sara Bareilles in a second. And then I will hope that she thinks we did a good job with it. So Sara, if you're there, come out to Arizona. I'll use one of my comps.
Right? It'll be nice by then. Very nice weather.
I mean, it will be beautiful. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'll mess around and like invite her. I invited Audra to come see Lady Day. Like, I'm not above inviting people.
Mm-hmm. Do it. Share a behind the scenes habit or superstition you have.
Oh. I pray. I don't think people know that about me. I pray. But it's not like, I don't know, it's not like it's more so like that everybody receives the message. Like, it's one of those things, like, what is it that it ties to the message of the show? Let it be something that helps everyone grow, that their empathy meter moves forward a little bit, that they can take home with them a positive experience and help my actors feel like they did their best. So yeah, I do. I do a little
Okay.
basic rah prayer.
Mhm. I'll need that. What's the last song you listened to on your phone?
Bachata? My friend is going to the Dominican Republic, and I was trying to explain to him how much I love bachata music, which is indigenous to the Dominican Republic. It's a Latin dance style, and I was explaining to him how he has to listen to it and learn how to do the dance so he can really enjoy himself at the DR this week. So that literally is the very last thing I listened to. Before that, though, would have been Six the Musical, because I'm directing that right now with Spotlight Youth Theater, because I'm on their board, and I tend to do a show a year essentially with them, and
Mhm.
I'm directing Six for them. So I am Six all the time right now on my Spotify playlist.
What book or movie would you bring with you if you were stranded on an island?
On an island. This is going to be hilarious. There's two books that I'm reading right now. Viewpoints, I'm reading right now because I always want to like keep stretching myself as a director and learning different methods. And then the smaller book on how to deal with difficult people. I'm just being honest. I think there's an art. I think I have a really good finesse with working with difficult people, which, you know, when I used to work in student services for University of Phoenix, they would always transfer to me the harder files or people that were disgruntled from other people so I can help cajole and get back on the right track. So I do believe I have that in my skill set naturally. But every now and again, I need a little bit of help from a book. And the book has been really good. And actually, what I love about the book is the book isn't so much talking about like what other people are doing wrong and how you deal with them. It actually helps you identify, well, what is it that is you're finding difficult, and then how can you take accountability with
Mm.
that? And that has been a really big game changer for me. Like I was reading the book hoping I was getting clarity on how to handle situations, and I was getting red. I was like,
Like, oh,
oh,
this is how I'm reacting.
so I'm impatient right now. This me. I'm the problem. So yeah, that's what I am. That's what I'm reading right now.
That's fun. And finally, last one. If your life were a musical, what would it be called?
I'm so busy. The musical. For real. Anyone else that knows me that knows that's the name of my musical. But I'm busy doing all the things that I love.
Mhm.
So not to say that in a negative connotation. I'm actually booked and blessed, and abundance is great. And
I
I'm
like that.
actually
Booked and blessed. That's a good
booked and
one.
blessed. That's what it'd be called. It would be booked and blessed. I am very blessed. And with that becomes responsibilities. And with that
Mhm.
comes, some long days and some long nights and
Mhm.
a lot of yeses and not very many nos. But that's
Mhm.
okay because I get to do what I love, and that's worth it.
Thank you. We're done with all the questions. Do you have any last thoughts or comments or
No, but I
anything?
just want to say thank you. These are so important because oftentimes I don't think people really understand what a director does. Like, yes, they know that the show happens and a person made it happen, but they don't realize how intricate being a director is, from literally helping choose like the tile color on the floor in your scenic designs, to the fabric or the designs that you have with your costume designs. Or like I had a really great meeting on Friday with my lighting designer. Her name was Amina Alexander. She's brilliant,
Mhm.
out of New York City, and I've worked with her before in St. Louis project, and she's just incredible. But even hearing, like, people don't realize, like, communicating the different time of day with lighting and those different
Mhm.
intricate points that help enhance the storytelling. Like, all of that is orchestrated by your director and then held to the highest integrity by your stage manager, being the incredible leader that they are, right? So, yeah, I'm just grateful for this download because I don't think people really get to understand what all is entailed in directing. We don't just show up and put our name on it. Like it's lots of hours. It's
Mhm.
lots of hours of research and dramaturgical work and many conversations with a myriad of different departments. I mean, while working on Waitress, I also was directing a couple of other projects. And on any given day, I was talking to at least 77 different individuals from various different projects and different departments. And being able to multitask, that's a skill that you have to be lucky if you can possess it, because it is a hard one. And so, yeah, directors work really hard, and so do stage managers, and that is all that I guess I would leave with everyone today.
Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.